Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. And let's talk about bread. Can I do 10 minutes on bread? You bet I can do 10 minutes on bread. I could probably do an hour on bread, but bread came up today in the Rolling Dice and Taking Names Discord server. So I've been thinking about it, and specifically I've been thinking about my time in Europe and my different association with bread than what I saw in my friends. And when I'm talking about my friends, I mean everybody that I interacted with in Europe, not just my hosts, not just Ignacy and Mary, but everybody else too. Bread has never been an important part of my life. It's not something that I eat very often. I pretty much only eat it when I go out, if it's served with dinner. Otherwise, I just don't eat bread. It's just not something I eat. Whereas what I discovered in Europe was that my friends, like, bread is such an important part of their lives that, when I was in Germany, the team would wake up at 5:30 to go to the bakery to buy the day's bread. When I was in Poland in the countryside, we had to stop and get bread before going home so we could have bread for meat. Like, the idea of eating without bread was just absolutely preposterous. Like, that's not a thing that you do. You have to have bread. For me, that's not really the case. And all of my European friends laugh at the stuff that we have here that we call bread. What we have is sandwich bread. It's not bread. I think everybody knows that, or at least I hope so. But like American sandwich bread, it's disgusting. Like, I don't like it. It tastes like chemicals. It tastes like sugar. It's not bread. It's spongy texture. It's weird. Not something I want at all. And so, they laugh because we have this. Yeah, sure. However, what I realized was the product that we call bread, the sandwich bread, is full of chemicals and preservatives so that it can sit on your counter for weeks at a time. It can sit there for 2 weeks without molding, without going bad. You can have bread until it goes stale. Whereas the bread that Europeans have is bread. Like, it's actual bread that will mold within days if you don't eat it. And so I suppose that buying a fresh loaf of bread means you need to eat it before it expires, right? It's going to go bad. So you have to eat it or throw it away. And we don't like wasting food. But I just wasn't expecting that level of reverence towards bread, especially because, like I said, it's not really a part of my life. When I was a kid, I would have peanut butter sandwiches sometimes. I would have bologna sandwiches sometimes, but it was not, bread for me, if I ate it, was usually in the form of a pizza dough or hot dog bun or hamburger bun. Granted, those things, hot dog buns and hamburger buns, are often just shaped versions of our sandwich bread. So they are also not good, but you're generally drowning out the flavor. You're not just putting some butter on a hot dog bun and eating it. At least, I mean, my kids do that. But so I happen to live in an area with a pretty large Italian population. We've talked about it before. During the coal boom, Industrial Revolution, the white flight, when everybody left Italy, they came here, they found this place of employment, the coal mines here, so we had a lot of immigrants. So I have bakeries in my town, multiple bakeries. I have one that is absolutely open every morning at like 5 a.m. You can go there and get fresh bread. You can get fresh cookies and all kinds of treats. They also sell to all the local restaurants. They also have their breads in local grocers. So I can go get real Italian bread. And then, of course, what I think lots of Europeans don't realize is that we have, like, every grocery store in America has a bakery. And they bake fresh products. Like, I can go buy fresh brioche buns. I can buy fresh baguettes. I can buy fresh, rye breads or whatever. Like, they bake stuff pretty regularly. I can go there and get bread. And when I want bread, that's what I buy. I buy fresh baked, or as close to it as I can get. I'm not going to go at 5 a.m. to the bakery, But I will buy bread, and generally in the form of some sort of roll or loaf that I can put in the freezer, because then I'll have it, for a month. Like I have hoagie buns that I purchase that are baked at my local bakery that stay in my freezer for 4 months ish, 3 to 4 months before I use them all, because it's just the two of us usually having hoagies when I make hoagies. And so I guess what I'm curious about, I know that the vast majority of my viewers are from America. Like, is bread an important part of your life? Did you grow up eating a lot of bread? I remember so my local bakery, the main one I'm talking about, is called Country Club Bakery. You can look them up and you can order their products online and they'll ship them to you. If you want like West Virginia pepperoni rolls, or if you want West Virginia Italian bread, they'll ship it to you. In fact, if you want to try pepperoni rolls, go to Country Club Bakery's website and order some. They're expensive. You're going to pay a lot for what is essentially some pepperoni baked inside of some bread. There's nothing magical about it. It's literally, if you've ever eaten pepperoni and bread together, then you know exactly what it's going to taste like. But you can order them and they'll ship them to you. So I can remember being little and going to restaurants that would serve you like 4 or 5 slices of their bread for dinner, and eating it and just being like, what is this? This is amazing. Like this is not the thing that I'm used to at home. This is not the sandwich bread that I'm used to. And then discovering that sandwich bread, that the stuff that we have in the bag is not great. I distinctly remember that. So I'm curious to know, like, do you have a similar experience with bread in whatever part of the United States you're in? Did you grow up with sandwich bread? Did you grow up with non-sandwich bread? Did you eat rise, and did you eat baguettes and, rolls and other types of fresh bread? And how important is it to you? One night, I forget what we were having. I don't remember what it was, but in my head, it was a meal of its own that stood on its own. But in Ignacie's head, it was just a tragedy that we weren't going to have bread with it. Like, oh, I'm sorry, there's not going to be any bread. And I'm just like, what do you? I would have not asked for bread. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that it was so revered, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, I'm curious to know your take on bread. Do you like the sandwich stuff? I know people that legitimately, my kids like it. I never did, even as a child. It tastes artificial. It doesn't taste healthy. I think when you don't eat a lot of processed foods and you don't eat a lot of sugars, you can taste that stuff. And it's pretty overpowering to my palate. It's not right. But let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. And I don't mean to that's not a slight, right? I'm not trying to say that I'm better because I don't eat processed foods or sugar. That's just things that I've never enjoyed the flavors of. I don't enjoy TV dinners. I don't enjoy pre-made stuff. It usually just tastes wrong. Like, it tastes like chemicals to me. And maybe I just have a very sensitive palate and I don't get to enjoy a lot of things that others do. I don't know. Whatever. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is subjugation, and is announcing the process of making someone your inferior and requiring them to take orders from you. There was a flavor of subjugation in his love for Madeline. Saul Bellow, an American author. Subjugation. S-U-B-J-U-G-A-T-I-O-N. That's not an uncommon word. That's not even a smart word. That's just a word. A normal old word.